Hi there, I'm Mr Attwell. I head up the engineering department, and I'm going to give you as brief as possible overview of the courses that we run within the department. And the best way for me to do that is to use some students. I've got some willing volunteers here. The first course I'm going to talk about is called the BTEC Tech Award in Engineering. As you won't be surprised to hear, engineering is a core subject here at UTCN, and it's this BTEC Tech Award that forms that core element. And it's equivalent to 1 GCSE. And I've got a bunch of students here that are going to show you what they're working on to contribute towards this course. So if I just turn my camera around. So here we've got Amy. Amy's just joined us in year 10, so has barely been here for half a term as yet. And what are you currently working on here, Amy?
Well, here we are investigating the Lotus Elise as a project, like as an introduction to the BTEC course. We are lucky enough to have one in the workshop, so we've looked through the car, looked at the engineering sectors that are required to build certain components of the car, which and what who manufactures them.
Yep. So is it primarily about understanding how the different types of engineers come together?
Yeah, it's so part of the focus is what sectors need to work together to be able to build your everyday machines, like cars, for example, or computers, or even the machines that we've got in our workshop.
Brilliant. So I saw you were looking at a video just earlier. So you're currently looking at the braking assembly.
Yes.
And that's not necessarily because you have to understand how braking assemblies work. You do for the purpose of this assignment, yeah. But you're looking at those different components, yeah, to understand where they come from, what type of engineers. Great. So that's Amy in year 10. Over here we've got Toby from year 11. So he's been through that process already, but he's currently working on the same course but within year 11. And Toby, what are you looking at?
So at the moment we're now looking at the functions and manufacturing processes of making a skateboard, and like all the components will go into it. So for example, like the decks, the ball bearings and wheels, and how they made them, if they're product specific or proprietary or not.
Yep. So lots of investigation into manufacturing processes. Yep. Were you aware of any of those processes before you started this?
Not really, to be fair. I know a couple, but not that many.
Okay, and you're looking forward to getting on one of the skateboards, taking them apart and disassembling. Yep.
Definitely.
Okay, so we're now going to go for a quick walk around the workshop. For those of you that haven't been for a tour, you'll see if I just stand back here, we're blessed with a lot of space in the engineering department. As Mr. Hayes said, we've got an awful lot of expensive equipment and machines which we utilise as much as possible. And over here we can see the loaned Lotus Elise we have. Dermot is standing by the Elise, and he's going to tell us a little bit about why we've got the Lotus here.
So we have the Lotus here to have a look at the parts, because in our engineering lesson, we're doing about the automotive sector and how all the other sectors encompass into making the Lotus Elise. So
all of us got a chance to look over the car.
Yeah.
And what we just saw Amy doing was writing up the report based upon the investigation of that. Yeah. So, and it's about understanding how those different types of engineers have to work together, isn't it? Yeah. Excellent. Thank you very much. So, alongside the year 11 component, so we saw Toby writing up his report, and we can see here 3 or 4 of the year 11s working on their actual skateboard. So they've all been given a skateboard, and Finn's going to tell us a little bit about what he's doing currently.
Afternoon all. So currently what I've been doing this evening, been disassembling a skateboard, analysing how the parts have been made, been measuring the sizes of each part, then jotting them down here on my notes page, ready to be written up, put into a table, and finished off as a report.
Okay, so have you investigated any of the manufacturing processes yet, or is that yet to come?
That's yet to come, but I can confirm that with some of the parts, you can tell that, say for example, this part of the truck here, you can tell it's been injection molded. You can see just there, the plastic, how it's come out of the mold.
Brilliant. And what's your investigation sort of unearthed so far? What do you think about the quality of this skateboard?
So far, the quality has definitely mirrored the pricing very, very cheaply. Like as I said before, you can see where the injection mold came out. It's not very good. Yep. You can see on this part of the truck here, you can see that's been worn down, considering that these trucks haven't been used, nor is the board. So it's not a very good quality product. And
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're looking forward to seeing that written up in your report, yeah?
yes.
Thank you very much. And then in here, so this is our machine shop. So you can see we're fully equipped with 8 industrial milling machines, as well as a whole bay of MIG and TIG welders. I think we've got 10 bays of that, along with a whole bunch of other equipment. And then over here, we've got Ed. Ed, what are you currently working on?
I'm currently working on a kingpin.
All right, so what's a kingpin?
It's from the skateboards that you've just seen.
Okay, so that's one of the components. And what have you got there?
This is a technical drawing kingpin.
Okay, so you're working to a drawing.
Mm-hmm.
And did you know how to read one of these drawings before you joined us at UTCN?
No, I didn't. I had to learn.
Okay, so you've learned how to interpret the information on the drawing. And when you say you're manufacturing the kingpin, what are we using here?
We are using a lathe to do parallel turning.
Right.
And we are turning this to 8 mil.
Mhm.
And we will use a handheld die to then thread this part of the screw.
Okay, and you're working within tolerances. You've got
Yeah, we're working within a 0.5 mil tolerance.
excellent. Okay, and is that the first time you've used a lathe?
No, but that is not the same for my other work students.
Right. Okay, so you've had a bit of practice on lathes before you came to UTCN, but it's fair to say that the vast majority of your colleagues have never touched one before. Okay, good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So that sort of gives you an overview of the BTEC Tech Award. Now, the other course we do in engineering, which is an option, is the BTEC Skills. So the BTEC Tech Award is fundamentally a sort of theoretical academic course with practical elements built in. But what we offer in Skills is the chance for Year 10s and Year 11s to get a much wider range of practical skills and technical know-how. So Mr. Bishop here, and I'm calling him Mr. Bishop because he's one of a pair of twins, and it's just the safest way to deal with that. So Mr. Bishop, what are you working on?
So I'm making a desk tidy die
Right.
out of this material, and at the moment I'm describing the material and marking out what I need.
Let's have a closer look at that. So you're measuring and marking out. So
Yep,
that's
ready
obviously
to,
the number what?
3.
Number
at the
3.
moment,
So this
yeah.
is an industrial dice. It's really thick plate metal they're using. And how are you going to assemble all of that?
So we'll tack weld it,
Yep.
and then we'll finish with nice clean welds.
Have you welded before?
No, I haven't welded before.
So you're looking forward to that bit.
But yeah, we'll get it on to
Excellent, excellent. And what else have we got over here? You're making your...
I'll make my dual angle gauge. So I'll finish it, but this measures if the drill is sharp enough to go down, and because when the drill goes, it gets burred. So this basically, when you sharpen it up, tells you if it's the right angle.
Brilliant.
So file it down and measure it out.
Okay, very good. And Dermot, you're doing the same?
Yeah.
Excellent. So that's the Year 10 skills. So they start off with sort of fundamental basic things to make, basic components. And then in Year 11, we get a bit more adventurous and we start to incorporate more processes and more techniques. What are you making here?
Pencil tin.
So it's a sort of toolbox style pencil case?
Yeah.
And what techniques and what processes have you been using?
Well, we've used measured marking.
Mm-hmm.
We've used lathes to cut out the pieces of metal.
Yep.
We've used pillar drills to drill holes, and we've used a rivet gun
Uh-huh.
to put the rivets in to put the parts together.
Right.
And we've also used the bending.
So the folding machine?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. And again, it's fair to say you've never touched any of that sort of stuff before.
Yeah.
So, and how have you felt your skills have evolved from Year 10?
A lot actually, because I've learned to use more machinery and I've learned how to use learn more skills.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. So that's just a brief overview of what we do here at UTCN in the engineering department. If you are turning up for a tour around at any point, feel free to stop by in any of the classes and ask more questions, or at the end of this session.